Billy appreciates you, Larry.
I'm Larry, and this is Carter's Country. Today, Justin and I are going to talk about a topic that I think is going to apply to a lot of people, and that is you've bought your first gun, and now you're about to take your first trip to the range. Yep. Years ago, I took up golf, and I wasn't very good, and I was really unsure of myself, super self-conscious. I would try to go to a golf course at a time of day when there wasn't anybody there, like the heat of the day, things like that, to minimize how many people, because when you go to that first tee box, everybody waiting around, everybody at the clubhouse, anybody can look out there and watch you. And that really ate me up inside, because for whatever reason in my mind, I had it that anyone watching me was a great golfer, because they had been doing it longer than me or something. I was just assuming things that weren't true. One day I went in, like a Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, it's blistering hot outside. I asked the guy, I said, is it very crowded? He said, no. I said, good. He said, why? I said, because I'm not good and I don't like people watching. He goes, you're at a public course on a Tuesday afternoon. If anybody was that good, they wouldn't be here playing. Just relax. And it really kind of enabled me to think, you know what? Who says any of these people are better than me? And they all had to be a beginner at some point. And I think that same lesson transfers to the range. When you're out there, no matter how good you see people shooting on either side of you, no matter how competent they are or calm they appear, they too at one point had a first day at the range, and I promise you, they too were a little bit nervous about it. Oh, yeah. So what we're going to try to do today is talk about some good gun safety, good handling practices to develop, and some things to expect when you go to the range to get you as relaxed as possible, to make it as enjoyable an experience as possible, because I think when people go to the range and have a good experience that first time, they were going because they're a conscientious gun owner, they want to practice, they want to get proficient. Yeah. That's great. But I think a lot of people after that first trip, maybe it dawns on them, that was pretty nice. Maybe I'll go sometimes just for the fun of it, because when you're out there, you're focused on the gun, the target, safety, and your mind kind of forgets everything else, and that gets harder and harder to do in the world we live in today. So it's an opportunity to not only form good habits, but to maybe find a fun hobby.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of people out there that use it as a solid form of therapy too.
Yeah,
it may not be the cheapest form of therapy, but it is a solid form.
Well, compared to some of the other forms of therapy, it is relatively inexpensive, I think, once you make the initial gun purchase, but from that point on, compared to other things people do to get away from it all, it can be fairly inexpensive, relatively speaking.
Very true.
The video, some of the things we're going to talk about today, there is a video by a young lady, Lena Miculek. Now, if you recognize the name, her dad is Jerry Miculek, who I think is kind of generally regarded as the greatest handgun shooter that's ever lived. Yeah. And she doesn't just ride his coattails. She is a great shooter and a champion in her own right. And she did a video, and we'll put the link up for people, but it's a 23-minute video about some drills you can do at home with an unloaded firearm to help you get more comfortable with the firearm, but it also is pointed to things to get proficient with before your first trip to the range. And I'll tell you, I don't care how much experience you've got, I'm betting there's something in that video that anybody can learn from. So it's really not just for beginners only. And what we're going to do is just take a couple of highlights from it. But then again, we're going to put the link up because it really is 23 minutes chock full of great information. There's drills in there you can do. It's just, I can't say enough good things about it. And we want people to know it's out there and to take advantage of it.
Perfect.
The first thing she talks about is picking up the firearm. Now, that's something a lot of people may not think about, but if you go to pick it up and you don't have a plan for picking it up and you're just kind of absent-mindedly, nonchalant doing it, your finger may end up in that trigger well, which is not where you want it when you're picking up the gun. But just overall, to give you an example to kind of show what she did, she recommends as you're putting your hand on the grip and this finger up here, use this hand to lift the gun up. The reason why is when you pick it up, then your hand is already in position to transition
to your shooting.
Yeah, it's one smooth motion, and she recommends practicing that numerous times. It comes up, and you're ready. Yeah. And that's just a perfect example of the great, simple tips that the video offers. But that is one, if you develop the muscle memory of picking it up that way, of this finger going here and not here, and picking it up and you're ready, not only is that great at the range, if you're in a situation where you need to pick it up in a hurry, there's a possible threat or whatever, if you're in the habit of picking it up and transitioning the grip and being pointed, that's just a good all-around tip, I think.
No, I mean, I think that the key with anything, and you and I both know, muscle memory is the most important thing when you're working with guns.
Right.
No matter what it is, it's all about muscle memory. The more times you pick up the gun, the more times you're handling the gun, the more you shoot the gun, and the more times you practice how you're going to act with a gun is the most important process. If you've been to any range anywhere in this country, safety is the number one thing that people stress. You and I both know as well that a lot of people over the past 18, 24 months have bought guns that were available, which means that a lot of them didn't have actual safeties, traditional safeties on them.
Right.
Using the greatest safety, which is your finger. As long
Absolutely.
as you keep your finger off of that trigger, it doesn't matter what happens around you, what you're doing. Nothing can go wrong with this gun right now.
Right.
Your finger is your safety. And making sure that you remember, I mean, even people that I've sold guns to on a counter for years, they still come in and do this.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that they don't think about what's wrong with that.
Right.
It's a simple mistake that if you do something wrong, if you say you put it in your pocket and it slips and you pull that trigger, you're in. There's so many ways that can ruin your day.
Yeah. Basically, there is no time for your finger to be in that trigger housing until you're pointed the direction you're wanting to shoot, and you're ready to fire. It just doesn't need to be in there otherwise.
Well, and it's a great when you're shooting with other people because it is a social endeavor in a lot of places. I mean, we have a lot of people on the ranges. We go out and shoot with friends. That's the one thing I'm always watching.
Right.
Is where is that? I can see that from the time somebody walks in the front door of their store to the time that if you look down 20 aisles, you can see what people are doing with their hands all the time.
Right.
So that's the easiest way to show somebody, I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to make this place as safe as possible for all of us involved.
Yeah, that's the first red flag that maybe this guy, we need to help him a little bit or talk to him a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that's a no-no.
Yeah, huge no-no.
Right. Another thing that Lena talks about in the video, it has to do with racking the slide. If it's their first time with a semi-automatic weapon, I don't know if it's the sound of the slide slamming forward or what it is, but it seems to intimidate a lot of new shooters. Yeah. And there's a couple points that she makes in there that are really great. First of all, there's serrations. Almost any handgun these days, you've got serrations at the front and the back. They're there for a reason, not just for looks.
Yeah.
These are the places you want to grab the gun to rack the slide. And if you're using the back serrations, the best way is to get a good grip, push forward with this hand until you hear it lock into place. The second grip is your serrations are on the front. You want to use the front serrations. Don't put your hand in front of the barrel. You want to grip the gun right here. And again, it's a two-handed thing to do. You push forward with your right while pulling back with the left. And then you're locked in. Simply put, the serrations are there for a reason. That's the two methods.
Well, I can't stress it enough to a lot of people on the sales floor. If you use both hands, anybody can typically work any gun out there.
Right.
If you only use one hand and try to pull with your non-dominant hand, which is the one that you're usually racking the slide back with, then you're not going to be able to pull the slide back with one hand if this one's locked in place.
Right.
You have to move.
Both, absolutely.
It's that movement or that movement is where it's all at.
That's it. And another thing about it, there's a reason the serrations are here and here, and there's none around here, because you don't want your hands anywhere around here when you're racking a slide. And the reason is,
you got to learn that lesson once.
Yeah. See how that chamber opens up right there, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're gripping the gun here, when that chamber's open up, it's real easy for a fingertip to slide in there. And let's say the slide slips, or you think it's locked back and it's not, and you let go, that is going to happen to your finger.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bloody and extremely sore finger for a very long time. So for whatever reason, just your mind's going blank about it. Just remember, serrations front and back. There's 2 methods. You use the method based on the serrations. Another point she made, and this is really specific or especially true at a gun range. If you're used to racking a slide like this, okay, you're at the range, for whatever reason you're going to rack the slide. You've either got a jam or for whatever reason you're going to rack the slide. Yeah. If you're used to doing it that way, you turn the gun like this to do it, you're no longer pointed down range. You're violating a range safety rule, and you're pointing the gun at the guy next to you.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're left-handed, it's this way, but either way, you're pointing, and that, you don't do that. That's a big no-no for obvious safety reasons. You do not do that. But if you get to the range, and that's the only way you've practiced doing it,
yeah,
then what do? You keep the gun down range, and you just turn your body to get the gun where you want to do it. That way, you're still down range, you're still safe, and you're still able to operate the gun the way you've practiced and are used to. But keeping in mind that, okay, however I do this, that muzzle has to be pointed down range. It's real simple. You turn your body to get in the position you need. So another simple thing, it sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many people you will see in a situation doing that, not only in a range, but just out shooting with friends. Yeah. You turn the gun to do that. Well, your friends are over here. Don't do that,
Depends.
Yeah, so they may be ex-friends if they see you doing that, pointed in their direction. So yeah, that's another thing, and just another example of something that really simple, really basic, but it's something you may miss if you don't really stop and think about it, and something that Lena hits on repeatedly in the video. Practice, do the drills until you're completely comfortable with it. It's not costing you anything, it's just a little bit of time. You can do it at your, at a kitchen table or what have you. Yeah. And then she goes on talking about practicing and releasing the magazine and a lot of other things. But I really thought those things really hit home to me as the most basic and most valuable tips for range safety. And the more confident you are that you're being safe at the range, the more relaxed you can be about it. The more you can kind of get into the actual shooting experience and enjoying that. If that's one less thing that you have to worry about is, am I being safe to everyone around me?
Yeah, I'm very much agreed. So the first time you come out to the range, it's most critical that you tell us it's your first time here. If you're here, don't feel ashamed to say, hey, I've never been here. What do I need to do?
Right.
I can't tell you how many times people walk in feeling like they know what to do, and then we have to explain how it operates, how the range operates, what they're supposed to do, and then you can see the embarrassment on their face. But it's not a bad thing. We want you to feel comfortable on the range. We can walk you through that phase in a very, very positive manner if we know what you're up against.
Yeah, and that's the only way we have a real chance to help you is if you let us know.
I haven't been able to figure out how to read somebody's mind, but when I do, it'll be the best thing for this business. But we're working on that.
Don't ever be able to read my mind, okay?
Some people I don't want to know.
You do not.
But there's a couple of things that it's important to know when you come out. Number one, feel free to ask any questions you have of us or our staff anywhere at any range. There's always a safety officer at every range out there now. Just ask them whatever questions, whether it's time, whatever. Just ask the questions.
Yeah.
The other thing too is understanding the difference between the different types of ammo. A lot of times people will come in and they want to shoot for the day, and then they buy what is maybe a defense ammo, which is usually more expensive and not really meant for the range, in an effort to just get out on a range and shoot, where we do have lots of target ammo back in stock.
Right.
You can come in and buy, a big box of ammo to play with on the range that you wouldn't necessarily have maybe a year and a half ago. So now that we have more target ammo, there's a reason that we practice with target ammo, and then we use self-defense ammo in our
specific situation,
in different situations.
Yeah,
sure.
a good rule of thumb for you, if you're not sure what you're getting, your target ammo somewhere on the box, it will say FMJ or full metal jacket.
Yep.
Another thing, and this is the easiest way to do it, if it's a box about that size and it's 50 rounds, that's target ammo. If you ask for ammo and they hand you a little box of 20, that's personal defense. And that really is kind of the easiest way to do it. Like,
That's true.
the cost of the 2 boxes may seem kind of similar until you realize you're getting less than half the rounds in the personal defense as you are in the target ammo.
Well, it's usually about twice the price.
Per round. The cost per round is going to be about twice. But yeah, look for the box of 50. Here at Carter's, our personal defense ammo is kept behind the counter.
Yep.
The target ammo is out on the floor. That's another easy way for coming to visit with us. Now, one thing you mentioned was other ranges.
Yeah.
And that was real important. I'm glad you did that. Of course, we do want you to come here. And at Carter's, you tell us it's your first time shooting with us. We're going to have a range officer come in, talk through everything before you get out on the line, to kind of make sure you're good and ready to go out. But I think it's important to realize if you're going to be going to other ranges, range rules are different at every range, and because there's a lot of valid reasons for that. How the range is laid out. Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? There's a lot of differences. So knowing the range rules at Carter's Country doesn't mean that when you go shoot somewhere else, you shouldn't let them know it's your first time there. Yeah. So that they can do like we do and kind of say, okay, first of all, they're going to thank you for telling them. And then they're going to go through their range rules. And that will get you better equipped to go out there and start shooting. So it really is a big deal to the range, to the people that are going to be shooting around you, and it should be a big deal to the shooter also. Be up front. Hey, it's my first time here. Give them an opportunity to kind of get you up to speed on whatever's going on at that particular range.
Familiarizing yourself with your gun before you come, whether it's watching YouTube videos, is critical. Taking the gun out of the box and holding it for the first time. Wipe it down with some rim oil if we have it or whatever. Make sure the gun is clean. You don't have to clean the whole thing, but getting kind of the package and grease off of it is important. Making sure you have everything you want before you come out for the first time is important. A lot of the stuff we've covered on our YouTube before, what do you bring in a range bag? All that stuff, you'll develop your own pattern once you get used to shooting in a more regular basis. You're going to tweak everything until it's comfortable for you.
Right.
So there is no right or wrong answer to any of this. It's all what makes you feel comfortable around what products you own and what you have in your own, kind of system to shoot.
Yeah, I think, and to that point, a lot of times you get your new gun out and it's already got oil all over it. Yeah. Sometimes seems like too much. But that oil is to preserve the gun while it's being shipped and packed and sitting on a shelf and all of that. That's not necessarily the oil it needs for shooting.
Correct.
So go ahead and wipe that down. First of all, you don't wipe it down so you don't get it all over you. Wipe it down good, and then rim oil or another oil that's advertised as specifically a gun oil. And we did this on a video, I think, with your dad talking about oiling it. We're not talking about slathering it all over the thing, just a little bit along the slide.
Little goes a long way.
Right, and that's all you need. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of people, they see all the oil on it and they go, oh, it's ready to go. Yeah, it'll cycle and operate fine, but it's not necessarily ideal. Go ahead and put actual gun oil on it before your first time, and it will. It's good for the gun, make the shooting experience better. There's this. It's just one of the habits. We've been talking about habits a lot today. Yeah. That's just another one of the habits to develop. All right, well, we hoped that you've learned something today or that you've seen something that you can pass on to new shooters that you know. Please like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and remember, if you've ever shopped, shot, or hunted with us, you're already a part of the Carter's Country family. Until next time, adios. We're getting so incredibly good at this.
It's getting better.
We almost don't even need editing anymore, Just let it roll.
Just let it roll.
Yeah.
That's for you.
At the very start of this, I may have said Lisa Miculek instead of Lena Miculek, but I just said Lena Miculek so you could splice that in, right?
In your free time.
Lena Miculek.